Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Governor of California, the Honorable Edmund G. Brown, Jr., and First Lady Ann Gust Brown. And now, please welcome the 12th class of the California Hall of Fame inductees, Joan Baez, Belva Davis, Ed Lee, represented by his daughter Brianna Lee, Thomas Keller, Arlene Blum, Fernando Valenzuela, Robert Redford, and Nancy McFadden, represented by her brother Bill McFadden.
All right, hold it. BOG Richard Costigan.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chair of the California Museum Board of Trustees, Richard Costigan.
All right, well, good evening. I know I'm the most entertaining portion of the segment tonight, so just bear with me for a few minutes. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the California Museum, welcome to the induction ceremony for the 12th class of the California Hall of Fame. I'd like to welcome Governor-elect Newsom and first partner, Jennifer Siebel Newsom. Thank you for being here. I believe we also have Treasurer-elect Fiona Ma here. Fiona. The Honorable London Breed, Mayor of San Francisco. I'm also told that Mr. Willie Brown is here, and I wasn't sure what title to use. He didn't make it. All right, good on that. The Honorable John Burton. And then the Honorable Kathleen Brown, former Treasurer of California. And there are too many agency secretaries, department directors, the governor's chief of staff. The Secretary of State will get introduced because he speaks after me, but I appreciate always being told. Make sure, thank you, Chief of Staff Dooley, I appreciate that. Once a staffer, always a staffer. I'd like to thank the past inductees that are here as well. Lisa Demetrios, if you just wave, good to see you. The granddaughter of Charles and Ray Ames. Jeannie Schultz, Charles Schultz's wife. Stephen Graham, where are you? Good to see you this year. The son of Robert Graham, and also his father is the one who did our medal, so thank you for that. Fred Ross Jr., good to see you, Fred. The son of Fred Ross Sr. Dixie Dixon, family member of Dorothea Lange. Thank you, ma'am. Good to see you. And then the Honorable George P. Schultz, former Secretary of State. In 2006, First Lady Maria Shriver and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger inducted the first class of honorees. Over the last 11 years, we've had inspiring individuals who have impacted the lives of millions of Californians. From the entertainment industry, sports, food, wine, art, television, health, music have all been inducted here. What's unique about the California Hall of Fame is it bridges all of California, just not one field, not one industry, profession, or public servant. Instead, it is the commonality of being a Californian that brings us all together tonight. The California Hall of Fame is the signature event for the California Museum, but I just want to talk about a couple other things that we've done. With the fact that Mayor Steinberg, good to see you, sir. In 2007, with the help of Mayor Steinberg and Governor Brown, we opened the Unity Center, the first in the nation interactive center related to unity, civil rights. If you hadn't a chance to look at it, please do. The museum has really been a gathering place over the last year as our nation faced what happened in Charlottesville and in Pittsburgh. And really, I would encourage you, go see it. It is unique. There's nothing else like it in the U.S. If you haven't seen the baseball exhibit, please do. It's a world-class exhibit. It's the only place in the United States that you'll see the three DiMaggio brothers uniforms, rookie uniforms, all displayed together. Daniel Zingali, where are you, sir? I told you I'd call you out. I just want to thank the California Endowment for your support and for the health exhibit every year. If you haven't seen the health exhibit, please see it. It's been an anchor exhibit of the museum. Tonight, we wouldn't be here without our sponsors. I'd like to thank Visit California as our lead sponsor, AT&T, Frontier Communications, Pharma, Southern California Edison, only two more, Kaiser Permanente, I saw John Garcia, needs to look out, and Western Dental. In addition to our sponsors, I'd like to thank our museum staff, again, who put this on. It's the volunteers, but there are 4 staff I'd really like to call out. Brenna Hamilton, Amanda Weir, who put it together, Kenny Martin, and then finally, Amanda Meeker, our executive officer. I told her I would do this to her. Jamie Callahan, right here, who for the last 8 years has put up with us and has been the integral link between us and the governor's office. And of course, to the governor and the first lady, you embraced us 8 years ago. You weren't sure what to actually make of this. And without you all being here, I'm not sure we would be here. So thank you all for that. And then finally, just on a more somber note, the California Museum this year lost some of its soul and heart. 2 of our biggest supporters passed away. One, if you knew, was the soul of our museum, was Bonnie Reese. Bonnie, if you knew her, her enthusiasm was contagious, and Bonnie was one of my best friends. So, the other is, if a museum had heart, it would have been Nancy McFadden. From the time that Nancy was a board member to her service with Governor Brown, she was the heartbeat of this museum, and she kept us running. So tonight, on behalf of the California Museum, we want to honor Nancy. And while we know you're going to honor Nancy tonight, on behalf of the California Museum Board of Trustees, we are going to be renaming the Remarkable Women's Exhibit the Nancy McFadden Gallery for Remarkable Women. So thank you all, and be prepared to be inspired.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Secretary of State for the State of California, Alex Padilla.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 12th Annual California Hall of Fame, and welcome to the Secretary of State's building. It's a genuine pleasure to once again host this event here in our building, and it's an event I frankly look forward to each and every year. I'm constantly awed by every class of inductees we've had, and this year's is no different. I want to take a second to thank Governor Brown and Gust Brown, First Lady, for their ongoing support of this event and of the museum. And I'm glad to see Governor-elect Gavin Newsom and First Partner Jen here today so that they can be inspired and equally commit to keeping this tradition and this important event going forward. At this event, we do indeed celebrate individuals who inspire, who invent, who perform, and in many ways contribute to the story of our great state. They are extraordinary individuals. To the inductees, I have no doubt that your example will serve to not just educate, but to motivate and to empower visitors of all ages, especially the thousands upon thousands of students who come through the museum each and every year. Your stories and the powerful exhibits that will share your stories in the museum will help mold future generations of leaders as they walk through this museum. Future leaders and frankly, future legends because of the mark that you are leaving on the Golden State. I want to take a moment to thank Amanda Meeker and the entire museum staff, without whom this event and the museum itself would not be as successful as it is. And of course, a big thank you to the sponsors of tonight's event. And again, to our esteemed honorees, it is your passion, your vision, and your example that remind us all that the California dream and the American dream is alive and well. I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment to acknowledge and recognize the many first responders, firefighters, police officers, and others who have courageously risked and sacrificed and fought to protect life and property, not just year in and year out, but particularly of late, both in Northern and in Southern California. I want to introduce a guest of mine here tonight, the President of California Professional Firefighters. Will Brian Rice please stand? And let's give him and the many women and men of firefighters throughout the state of California a round of applause. Please convey our appreciation to the women and men who risk and sacrifice every day on our behalf. Brian, thank you for joining us. And finally, a point of personal privilege. I know we are have a special recognition and tribute to Nancy McFadden here tonight, but I'd be remiss if I don't at least acknowledge the individual who's been my chief of staff. He's been with me for 16 years, on the verge of retirement. Mr. Bill Maybe, you're being inducted into the Padilla Hall of Fame. And so with that, thank you all very much for joining us. Please enjoy and be amazed this evening. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome California Hall of Fame presenting sponsor from Visit California, Carolyn Bettetta.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, it is such a privilege to be here with so many luminaries and leaders that are really shaping California, both in the past and what we're seeing in the future. And I'm so honored to be here tonight to celebrate all of our incredible Hall of Famers. We're a proud partner of this evening. We're one of the founding partners and supporters, and it's just, again, a privilege and an honor. Our mission at Visit California is to promote the California experience and travel to and throughout California. And ultimately, it's the California dream that people from around the world come to experience. Tonight's inductees are shining examples of how dreams become reality. Thank you to our California Hall of Famers for truly inspiring the world. These inductees are Golden State stars in their own right and then some, including Chef Thomas Keller, who is adding to his 12 years of Michelin stars. I'm also very personally touched that we're remembering two dear friends who truly embodied the California spirit and the dream, Mayor Ed Lee and Nancy McFadden. It's also a special night for Fernando and all Dodgers fans who have been enjoying. We're enjoying this special moment more than the last two World Series. We love you, Fernando. Big Dodger fan. Truly inspired. And tonight I have the honor of introducing another superstar, Governor Edmund G. Brown. I've had the privilege to work with 5 governors. Since our state was founded, California has had 38 governors, but only one, Jerry Brown. And we got him twice. He's been an incredible leader and a true ambassador during his successful tenure, bolstering this great state to the world's 5th largest economy. Regardless of the issue, he doesn't just dream, he dreams big. Please join me, all of you, in welcoming Governor Brown.
Thank you. Well, I always have mixed feelings of being honored in a museum. My thoughts are always ahead, not looking back. So I don't know what that entails, but and that's the paradox. Which a museum represents. We want to look to the past. We want to celebrate those who've done things over decades, but we don't want to get stuck in the past because we want to be open to the future. But our future is completely uncharted. So we look to those who've come before, who have pioneered in their own way, going into their own futures as we get ready to go into ours. So a museum is a very important institution. We have schools, we have government, we have hospitals, but museums are the repository of what makes us who we are. So this particular event, something I would have never thought to create, I took my friend Mr. Schwarzenegger, because they were into these kind of things. I like things a little lower key, actually. I'm a minimalist. And this is not a minimal kind of event. This is a maximum event because we're honoring people who did their utmost and exceeded beyond the ordinary expectations. So it's good to be here, but we don't want to think we're just ready to be put in a museum, right? We want to feel, okay, whatever you folks have done, don't stop now. Keep going, and I say the same thing about California. So it's my pleasure to induct Joan Baez, who I remember, I'm reading all the things she said, and I was around for all of that. But I was an obscure member of the audience, and I could just look out, and now I get to be on the same stage, so I like that, actually. It's better than being in a museum. It's being a part of California history. And that's what this museum does, celebrate and recognize this incredible, diverse place, which is so unusual and which has brought people from so many places. And we need to think about just what is California. And I won't get into the fact that for 10,000 years, we only had 300,000 people, and now we have 40 million. So how the hell are we going to make that work? Gavin, that's your charge. So, Joan Baez, she's been the musical accompaniment to the most dramatic and consequential social and political movement of the past 6 decades. For her entire life, as a singer and activist, at times when it was neither safe nor fashionable, she put herself on the line. Her life's work was mirrored in her music, and her mission has never wavered. She's marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and sang at the March on Washington, co-founded the Institute for the Study of Nonviolence in Carmel Valley, organized resistance to the Vietnam War, shined a spotlight on the free speech movement, stood in the fields with Cesar Chavez and the migrant farm workers. She helped establish a fledgling Amnesty International on the West Coast and inspired Václav Havel in his fight for a Czech Republic. Today, Joan Baez remains a musical force of nature and an artist of vast influence. She currently is embarked on her worldwide Fare Thee Well tour. I think I might try one of those Fare Thee Well tours. And in 2018, she released her album, Whistle Down the Wind. Her recent venture into painting resulted in her first solo exhibition in 2017. She's the author of 2 autobiographical books, Daybreak and A Voice to Sing With. Believing that we all must work for a just and loving society, she continues to fight for social justice, championing causes for immigrant rights to the abolition of capital punishment. Winner of the Naris Lifetime Achievement Award, ASCAP Centennial Award, Amnesty International's Ambassador of Conscience Award, and inductee to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that's good. We're kind of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, California Hall of Fame. So it's an honor to welcome Joan Baez to the California Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking for my page. There it is. Thank you. And I just want to say that one of the reasons I'm here is really to honor you, and hate to see you go. Happy to see you step in the tenuous shoes of this office. Belva, before I introduce you, they gave me a couple of minutes, so I'm going to use them. I wrote this when I was traveling in my last tour in California, and the fires all cut loose. And so I thought I'd read it now. I cut out a bunch of it, but there's no such thing as a slow burn now, only lightning fast destruction and the residue of floating ash. On the heels of thousands of firefighters who put their lives on the line, now it is we who must be the fire brigade. Now is the time to be our brothers and sisters' keeper. Now is the time to feed the hungry and clothe the naked. Now is the time to love. We must be the fire brigade and more, because in spite of the ashes, haze, and chaos and sorrow, now is the time to take on the larger forces of darkness. As a Californian, I pride myself in being a part of a forward-thinking state. Here we understand not only the devastation, but the only cause of the devastation that we can do anything about. The truth is, the world is heating up. The lie is, everything will be fine. The only way we can fight a world on fire from this wounded democracy is by creating a mass movement from the grassroots up. That means walking the talk. That means taking risks. That means finding the right organization to help you resist evil. That means putting empathy and compassion back into the dialogue and into practice. Gandhi said, organized nonviolent action is no more than organized love. So you're here tonight by the grace of God and the accident of your birth. Make a promise to yourselves and to your families that you will not sit out this firestorm. You will take the leap of faith of your lifetime and then be true to your promise and to yourself. Do it for the children so they have a possibility of a good life. We're the fire brigade. Together, we can create an unstoppable force for good. We need only begin. Thank you. Thank you. Belva Davis, friend of mine, I've known you for years and years, and it's an absolute delight to be able to introduce you tonight. Belva Davis was born into a deeply segregated South where Black Americans were denied every privilege of citizenship. Facing the specter of Jim Crow, Belva's father moved the family from Louisiana to the promise of freedom that California offered. Even here, she found a society that pushed women and Black Americans down. But Belva Davis would not be kept down. Fighting blatant discrimination, she pursued her dreams. She became the first Black television anchorwoman in the West, working for a network-affiliated station, and she helped change the face and focus of TV news. In a career spanning half a century, Belva reported on the most explosive stories of the era, including the free speech movement, the birth of the Black Panthers, the People's Temple cult that ended in a mass suicide at Jonestown, the assassinations of San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk, and the onset of the AIDS epidemic. During her career, she soldiered in the trenches of the battle for racial equality and brought stories, of Black Americans out of the shadows and into the light of day. Meanwhile, Belva worked to ensure that marginalized people would not have to struggle as she had struggled. For more than a decade, she served as the National Equal Employment Opportunities Chair for AFTRA, the broadcast union, where she advocated for women, minorities, and people with disabilities in the television industry. For nearly 20 years, she hosted This Week in Northern California at KQED, the nation's most watched public television station. And in 2011, she published Never in My Wildest Dreams, A Black Woman's Life in Journalism. It's an apt title for the memoir of a woman who had smashed so many barriers to succeed against the stacked deck of discrimination. recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award, International Women's Media Foundation, National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame, Panetta Institute Award for Public Service. I'm exhausted. Lifetime Achievement Award, Northern California Chapter of the National Association of Television Arts and Sciences. And how about this, which I think is amazing, winner of a whopping 8 Grammy Awards. It's an honor to welcome trailblazing journalist Belva Davis to the California Hall of Fame.
Well, there's so many people here that I know and have watched them grow up. If I've been covering politics for 40-some years, there's hardly anybody in here who's been elected that I haven't met sometime, somewhere. And I thank you so much for the nice honors, descriptions capturing it all. And I thank this museum for these wonderful exhibits of people that I know and people that I love. There is so much to be grateful to California for in who I am today. I was born in Monroe, Louisiana. There's no way I could be the woman who heard those credits, then married to her name. Because the Belva Davis of Louisiana would never have had a chance to do all of those things that I was allowed to do, happy to do, blessed to do. So my thanks to all of you for that privilege. And California is a place where dreams are born, but where they're also executed by individuals in love with ideas. Ideas, basically, to help somebody else. And that has been my life's mission. So thank you. It is my pleasure now to offer a dedication to a man who I highly expected, knew for years, thought he was just a quiet guy, and then they elected him mayor. The city with America's most iconic Chinatown took a long time to elevate an Asian American to its top political spot. But when San Francisco finally elected Ed Lee as mayor, it chose a leader that lifted the gold rush capital to new heights. Ed Lee did not come by the mayor's job cheaply. He was invested, and he invested himself in San Francisco. Governance for decades became his goal, first serving as director of the city's Human Rights Commission, then for 2 decades as San Francisco's purchasing manager, and then public works director and city administrator. Ed Lee's deep understanding of the city and city government, coupled with his passion for social justice, made him a perfect fit for his city. In 2011, Ed accepted an interim mayoral appointment to replace Lieutenant Governor-elect Gavin Newsom, and later that year was elected for a full term. The successful Ed Lee won a second term in 2015, running with only token opposition. Mayor Lee oversaw a San Francisco that was the economic envy of the planet, birthing billion-dollar startups and becoming the center of the social media and cloud computing industries, creating enormous wealth throughout the city. He helped spur that tremendous economic growth, revitalizing the mid-market district and investing heavily in small business and neighborhood commercial corridors. While backing the business that fueled the city booming economy, Ed Lee, a former civil rights attorney for low-income tenants and immigrants, never forgot the less fortunate. And when I first met him, that's where he was, out there on the streets, fighting for housing for men who were too really and truly older and not as informed about politics as he was, and very few other people would have been. So he's stepped up to their defense. Far from the glittering arcades of mansions and shiny cars and avant-garde restaurants, Ed Lee also governed a city with housing and homeless challenges as steep as the San Francisco hills. His true passion as mayor was building affordable housing, creating the largest affordable housing fund in San Francisco's history, completely transforming all of San Francisco's 3,500 units of public housing and spurring housing development in all neighborhoods. At the time of his unexpected passing, he was opening support shelters and had created a dedicated department to centralize the city's efforts in its fight against homelessness. Ed Lee left a legacy as the city's first Asian American mayor, as a friend of San Francisco's innovative businesses, and as a champion in the city's neediest neighborhoods. It is an honor to welcome Mayor Ed Lee to the California Hall of Fame. Accepting for him is his daughter, Brianna. Brianna.
Thank you so much. Just want to say that in what's been a very emotional and a difficult year for my family, this is such an amazing time and place and honor to be, have him recognized, especially among this class here. Chef Thomas Keller, whom I'm about to introduce, was just sharing some really lovely memories of my dad right before we came in as well, so I'm very happy to introduce him. Thomas Keller was born in Oceanside, California, and has worked in the Napa Valley for the last 30 years. But as he has proven many times, his genius as a chef and restaurateur travels with him wherever he sets up shop, much to the delight of his fans around the world. In 1994, Chef Keller took ownership of the French Laundry in Yountville, and under his guidance, it quickly tilted the axis of America's culinary world away from New York towards California's sun-kissed wine country. By 2003, the French Laundry ranked as the #1 restaurant, not in Napa, not in California or the United States, but in the entire world. Soon after, it garnered the coveted and nearly impossible to achieve 3-star Michelin rating. The French Laundry by itself would make him a legend, but thankfully for gourmets everywhere, he spread his gifts so that more people could experience his vision. His restaurants and bakeries include locations across the US and the Middle East. Chef Keller expanded but never compromised. Helping to shape fine dining in America, he continues to set the highest standard of culinary excellence. In the Michelin Guide's 2019 rankings, his portfolio continues to lead, with the French Laundry retaining 3 stars and Bouchon Yountville retaining 1 star. Earlier this month, his New York restaurant, Per Se, also received 3 Michelin stars, an honor it has maintained since the Guide started in 2006. He is the only chef in American history to earn the distinction of having 7 Michelin stars. His love of food is evident in the numerous cookbooks he has authored, which have opened his kitchen doors to millions and put him on the New York Times bestseller list. It's also evident in his creation of specialty products, including chocolate, gluten-free flours, and caviar. Last year, the California Hall of Fame inducted Napa Valley winemaker Warren Winiarski, whose wine shocked the world in the 1970s by beating the French in the Judgment of Paris tasting competition. In 2017, Chef Keller achieved a similar feat when he and Chef Daniel Boulud led Team USA to the gold in the Bocuse d'Or, the elite worldwide cooking contest. Chef Keller has said that chefs cook to nurture and to make lasting memories around a meal. There's no doubt that for the thousands upon thousands who have eaten the meals of their lives in his restaurants, he has done just that. Winner of Best American Chef in California from the James Beard Foundation, Time Magazine's Best American Chef, Chevalier in the French Legion of Honor, Culinary Hall of Fame inductee. It is an honor to welcome Thomas Keller to the California Hall of Fame.
Couples. All right, good. No trouble. No trouble.
Just take this in for a moment because it's obviously a very special night for so many of us that are here and being recognized in memory of those who are not here tonight and are truly missed. It's a real honor to, as a native Californian, to be recognized by this museum, by our governor, our first lady, by all of you. People are asking me, how do I feel about this? Well, you can't dream of these things. It's impossible. But I'm truly blessed to stand here. I want to thank Joan for her wonderful remarks, as she has for decades inspired us all, and tonight I think those were very, very thoughtful. Thank you for sharing those. I'm also always amazed when I'm around men and women who are in uniform. I'm constantly reminded of the sacrifices they make for all of us and for our safety. My father was a Marine. I was born in Camp Pendleton, and I've always held that dear to my heart. And I just want to thank those men and women who are out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thank you. 365 days a year, making sure that we are able to live these dreams. And I'm truly inspired by everything that they do. Arlene Blum, I just want to talk about you for a few minutes here. Very special. I've learned about you over the past couple weeks, and truly inspiring. Wonderful, wonderful stories and wonderful experiences that you've had. 2 years ago, the California Hall of Fame inducted Harrison Ford, who is beloved for playing the fictional swashbuckling academic Indiana Jones. This year, with Arlene Blum, we are inducting the real thing. A woman. Yep, a woman who slides between academia and adventure with Joansian aplomb. Arlene received her PhD in biophysical chemistry from the University of Berkeley and is taught at Cal, Stanford, and Wellesley. She is a research associate in chemistry at UC Berkeley and the founder and executive director of the Green Science Policy Institute, which brings together business, government, scientists, and citizens groups to support chemical policies to protect human health and global environment. Pretty tall stuff you do there. Arlene's scientific research and policy work has contributed to getting flame retardants and other harmful chemicals out of children's sleepwear, furniture, electronics, and other products worldwide. And she is currently working to reduce the use of entire classes of harmful chemicals. She has scaled the metaphorical mountain of science, and her work benefits human and environmental health all around the world. But Arlene is every bit as accomplished at scaling literal mountains as she is accomplished at scaling literal mountains. She is famous for leading the first American and first all-women's ascent of Annapurna 1, arguably the most dangerous and difficult of the world's highest mountains, showing tremendous stamina, technical expertise, courage, and true leadership. She also led the first women's team to climb Denali, completed the great Himalayan traverse across the mountains of Bhutan, Nepal, and India, and hiked the length of the European Alps with her baby daughter on her back. She is the author of Annapurna, A Woman's Place, and Breaking Trail, A Climbing Life, along with dozens of scientific and popular articles. Winner of the 2017 UC Berkeley International House Alumna of the Year, the 2014 City of Berkeley Wheeler Medal, American Association for the Advancement of Science Fellows, and of course, the Hall of Mountaineering Excellence. It's an honor to welcome Arlene Blum to the California Hall of Fame.
Well, I didn't know that we got to say anything beyond reading the introductions, but following Joan's amazing example, having an audience, I can't resist sharing some thoughts. And I guess the thought that really comes to me is right now our planet is being cut by two blades of a scissors. And one blade is global climate change, which is leading to the fires, the droughts, the devastation. And the second blade is toxic chemicals that are in our everyday products that cause our cancer, our birth defects, our infertility, hormone disruption, and in most cases, the only reason they're there is to make a profit for the chemical industry. And this, I think these things are solvable, and I think we can do something about global climate change. I think we can do something about reducing toxics, and I'm so honored to have the opportunity to speak and also to bring this to a wider audience. So there are postcards at the museum talking about how you can watch short videos and reduce toxics, but I will say that Jerry Brown has been awesome. And you may know the story that until recently, all the furniture in California, but across North America, the foam had toxic flame retardants that provided no fire safety benefit, harmed firefighter health, harmed all our health. And Jerry Brown found a way to change it, so now all our furniture is more fire safe with no toxic flame retardants. So. And I can't help but say this story was told in a great documentary made by Jamie Redford, Robert Redford's son, called Toxicocracy, which honored our first responders, our firefighters. So it's just great to have all this coming together. And I also am just so honored to be part of this great group and really honored to introduce Fernando Valenzuela, who Fernando Mania. Any baseball fan old enough to remember 1981 will smile at the word that tried to capture the electric atmosphere and passionate fan response surrounding the sensational debut of Dodgers phenomena Fernando Valenzuela. No city ever fell so hard, so quickly for an athlete as Los Angeles did for the great Mexican pitcher. As a rookie in 1981, Valenzuela exploded onto the scene and into the hearts of Angelinos with a stunning string of performances. Valenzuela won his first 8 starts with 7 complete games and threw 5 shutouts during that short span. To put that in perspective, only once in the past 20 years has any pitcher thrown more than 5 shutouts in an entire season. Fernando did that in a quarter of a season, right at the birth of his career. It was part of a stirring stretch of excellence that saw Valenzuela become the only player ever to win the Rookie of the Year award and the Cy Young Award, baseball's highest pitching honor, in the same season. Valenzuela's unorthodox windup saw him look up at the heavens during his delivery, but it was batters who did not have a prayer against the against the screwball he used to devastating effect. He was selected to the All-Star game 6 times in his 11 seasons with the Dodgers, and at the 1986 game, he made history by striking out 5 consecutive American League batters. In 1990, he threw a no-hitter against the St. Louis Cardinals, and over the course of his 17-year career, became one of the most beloved players in the league's history. But his greatest legacy was igniting Latino interest in Major League Baseball, spiking attendance to his games, and sparking TV and radio broadcasts throughout Mexico. 11 of his 12 starts at Dodger Stadium in 1981 were sellouts. Valenzuela now announces Dodger games in Spanish for Sportsnet LA. In 2015, he accepted an appointment from President Barack Obama as a presidential ambassador for citizenship and naturalization, helping break down barriers for eligible immigrants and refugees to become U.S. citizens. And we need your help now doing this more than ever. Rookie of the Year, Cy Young Award winner, member of the Caribbean Baseball Hall of Fame and Hispanic Heritage Baseball Museum Hall of Fame, it's an honor to welcome Fernando Valenzuela to the California Hall of Fame.
Go Dodgers. You know what? It's hard to hear that one in Northern California. But really, but it's baseball. I think it's a great sport, family sport, and you know, good. Everybody supporting and you know, follow their own team. So that's great. I want to say thanks to the California Hall of Fame. You know, this dream is coming true to be, you know, part of California. I think I'm living in this state for many years. I spent 11 years with the Dodgers, so that's one of the great memories I have in this state. It's beautiful. So thank you very much. So, well, we have some Dodger fans somewhere over here. And, excuse me, here's, let me see, I'm in the wrong place. Yeah. Right over here. Ah, there you go. There you go, right here. Thank you, thank you. There's a number of ways you can take a challenge of describing Robert Redford. He's a storyteller and an artist and social activist and a passionate supporter for the independent voice. He has given us for the most iconic and memorable films in our time. As an actor, he earned an Academy Award nomination for this performance in the thing in the '73, and he was the lead in dozens of the beloved and respected films, including Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and the Candidate, The Way We Were, All the President's Men, and The National, where his beautiful swing giving him a credibility for and an actor is, in a sport film. As a director, he received an Academy Award, Directors Guild, the American Award, and Golden Globe for his debut film, Behind the Camera. Ordinary people and earning Academy Award nominations directing a quiz show. In 1981, he founded the not-for-profit Sundance Institute, following by the Sundance Film Festival, organizing of now epic influences that have supported and celebrating thousands of the new artists. Wow. That career was easily earning him a place in his Hall of Fame, but Bob's career in film industry alone does not define him. The fight for clean air and water fuels him. The need for sustainable development and responsible resource and define him. Simple, but Bob has been one of the earliest, strongest, and the most enduring voice for the environment and history. Recipient of the National Medal of Art, Presidential Medal of Freedom, Legion, the Honor, Academy Award, Director, Guild of America Award winner, and a champion of the people around the world who deserve a clean, sustainable environment for their future. It is an honor to welcome Robert Redford to the California Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay. Do you want to just say thank you? Just say thank you. Just come say thank you. You're so cute. Everyone wants to see you.
What are the candidate? What do we do now?
Yeah, what do we do now, right?
Just say,
It was a
yeah,
great night. Hi.
just look good. That's all.
I was. I'm too old for that. I'm sorry, but I was going to speak tonight, and then I was told, no, you're not going to speak. Well, look, let me, one thing I think you'll all appreciate is I'll be brief. I really couldn't be in better company. To me, that's very moving that I'm in this kind of company. That's a high point for me. And the other is that, having said that, there's another part to it that I'm very grateful for, which is I'm a native Californian. I was born and raised here, so the fact that I am a native Californian has a special meaning for me tonight. So for that, and all of you here supporting it, I'm very, very grateful. So thank you.
Yeah, oh, I know. Oh, Nancy McFadden. So it's very bittersweet for me tonight to be inducting Nancy McFadden into the California Hall of Fame. This actually is the first time I've been to a Hall of Fame event without Nancy. So I kept looking around for her tonight, and I believe she's probably here somewhere looking down on us. But as you all know, she has supported this event and been the backbone of it for so many, many years. And so I feel her spirit here tonight. Nancy was a friend to so many of you, and me included, my husband included. She was also a mentor to young men and women making their way in Sacramento, and a trusted counsel at the highest levels of government, both here and in Washington. that she passed away earlier this year with so much still to give and with so many who loved and respected her it's a tragedy that still makes our hearts ache. But Nancy's is a life to celebrate. It's an honor to help recognize a great woman, to commemorate her achievements, and to fix her legacy in place for generations to come so that others may learn about and respect this beautiful and accomplished person. Nancy was a successful private sector lawyer, but she felt the strong pull of politics and left her prestigious law firm to work on Bill Clinton's campaign. My husband was also around at that time, but on a different side of the whole thing, so. Yes, I know. After Clinton's election, not my husband's then, Nancy served in the Clinton administration as Deputy Associate Attorney General in the Department of Justice. A senior member of the administration for 8 years, she concluded her service as Deputy Chief of Staff to Vice President Al Gore. Nancy returned to California during the energy crisis and joined the Gray Davis administration, working miracles to prevent blackouts, doing battle with Enron, and coordinating action with federal agencies. And most importantly, at least in my mind, Nancy served as my husband's Chief of Staff from 2011 until her death. In fact, I take a little bit of personal pride that I was the one to help convince her to come into the organization. After being a Clintonite, she had some reluctance, but we got her in. She, as you all know, has been behind every major achievement of this administration, from Proposition 30, the Rainy Day Fund, criminal justice reform, landmark immigration and school funding measures, and on and on. She's also helped with desperately needed legislation to repair our crumbling roads and the extension of California's pioneering cap-and-trade program. Her last year in particular was breathtaking in how productive it was. In fact, numerous times I kept saying, Nancy, there's just no friggin' way we're going to get that done this year. And she would say, no, we're going to try, we're going to do it, we're pushing ahead. And this is a period of time when, in fact, she was sick. We didn't think that she would be dying, but she was sick and getting more so. And I think many of us would have retreated some or pulled back and thought, gosh, I should take care of myself. But that was never her instinct. She fought hard. She was never, as Jerry said, going into the museum. She was fighting out to the bitter end and did so much in her last year that I'm in utter awe of it. I really am. I think of myself as someone who perseveres, but I've never seen that sort of perseverance in someone to the very end. And she did so much good for California. Nancy gave a lifetime of committed public service. She established a long record of success, and she earned the deep and abiding respect of people from both sides of the political aisle. And it's a great personal honor for me and for my husband to welcome Nancy McFadden to the California Hall of Fame. Accepting on behalf of her tonight is her brother, Bill, who's very outgoing, but he's going to not say anything, right, Bill? Yeah. Just look good and say thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone, and that she loved this place, and she'd be happy all you guys got into. Thank you.
So that concludes our evening. I do want to thank all of you, the sponsors, and all of you for coming, and give one more big round of applause to this really special class of inductees. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming. I think you want to do any closing words? Yeah? Your last one?
No, the last words are my wife's.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the 12th class of the California Hall of Fame. Thank you for attending tonight's ceremony. Please remain in your seats until the inductees have exited the auditorium. And be sure to join us in the museum for a reception to celebrate tonight's event.